I am torn between supporting my sister, who I used to be very close with, but it was mostly in my early 20s, teenage years that we were very close. There's a fairly large age gap between us, about 10 years. And then I feel like as I've matured and I became a mom and I got married, I have matured, and I feel like she almost hasn't. I have a son, and we live in different states, so we don't see each other every day, but our children are very close, and I would like to maintain their relationship for my son's purposes, and also just for my parents, because, you know, I don't want to tear the family apart. However, I do get torn a lot because our values are very different. Just to give you one example, she's married to a woman who she's been married to for a really long time, and I love this woman so much. She feels like a sister to me, and they have kids together. But recently, not recently, it's probably been about a year, she opened up to us that they are in a throuple, and then that kind of has developed into, it sounds like maybe they're at a point now where just my sister and this individual are dating, and my sister-in-law is no longer involved, but I'm not totally sure because she's very difficult for me to talk to. We have a really hard time discussing the issues. She kind of lives in like a victim mentality. And for me personally, like, I'm a very positive person. But I think that, you know, and we used to be able to talk about everything, but recently I feel like I've matured and grown and learned more about setting boundaries. And I'm still learning how to use those boundaries, but sometimes I come across as very cold towards her, and I don't mean to. So I know that it's hard for her to talk to me, as well as I have a hard time talking to her because she can get very mean and like uses very harsh language sometimes that I'm just, you know, it's just impossible to talk to her. She kind of bulldozes you kind of person.
Sure.
So basically, I would like my son to maintain a relationship with her children, and I'd like her to have a relationship with my son. But I also am not comfortable with a throuple dynamic. I think that marriage is sacred, and I think that if you have issues within your marriage, it's better to resolve them than to bring in a third and kind of treat that person like a Band-Aid. I also feel nervous bringing my child over to her house because I don't know this person. I don't know that person's children who are also around. And it's my job to protect my child. He's very young. He's only 2. And, you know, living in different states when we're in the same location, it's, you know, we want quality time together because we don't see each other a ton. And so there's often like a request for my son to sleep over, or like, there's times where it would be nice to just be able to drop my son off at her house to watch him because that would be helpful. But I also don't know that I trust that dynamic anymore to just drop my son off because I don't know those children. I don't know her partner, her new partner. And I also worry about the influence that this could have on my son. Granted, he's only 2, but I don't want this to be normalized. And when you're starting it off young, it is going to be normalized if he's always around it. So I think that mostly covered everything. There's a ton of other things, but yeah. I feel like that's a good starting point.
No, Riley, tell me more. No, that was a lot.
Let me tell you my childhood trauma now. No, I'm just kidding.
So I'm going to take just a big old handful of spaghetti and start throwing it up against the wall, and you tell me if what I heard in that conversation is real, okay?
Okay.
Or if it's accurate, it's a better way to say it. Thing I heard, number one, is you're mourning the fact that you loved your sister's wife, y'all had a great relationship, and for whatever reason, they've broken up, gotten divorced, added a third, but complicated a situation that you were really comfortable with. And so there's some sense of mourning the end of your sister's marriage.
Yeah, I think that's really accurate.
And your sister-in-law you loved, like she was awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's put that aside. So that's me throwing spaghetti up, number one. So there's a mourning of, I liked the way this thing was going. And I liked the people in my, like we talk all the time, like marry somebody that the rest of us will like too, right? And your sister did. Her wife was awesome. And then this whole other thing happened. Then number two, you're concerned about the sexual ethic of adding multiple people. I don't know who's in that house. And I don't like the threesome or throuple. And if, for those of you who don't know what that is when a married couple or a dating couple decides to add three. So everybody's dating each other and equal parts or some equal parts or some form of an arrangement. And for you, I don't want to be around that, right? I have ethical issues with that arrangement. That's number two. The third one is I'm not dropping my 2-year-old off in a world that's got kids coming and going, other adults coming and going. There's just no way. And then the fourth one is I freaking miss my sister. I can't hang out with her. We can't talk anymore. You mentioned several times about how you're wiser or you've gotten more wisdom. Like there's just this dynamic that each of you feels above the other, and she probably feels more enlightened than you, and you're with your simpleton mind, and you feel more ethical than her. Like, but at the end of that, underneath it all, like I miss my sister.
Yeah.
So those four things, do they nail it a little bit?
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
Okay. So I think the challenge with this is, and then you add the politics on top of the throuple, and you add, if you're a person of faith, like how that intertwines with everything. And then you're the odd man out because you love your sister's wife, but you don't like this arrangement. And so your one group of your friends doesn't think that even the gay marriage is okay. And then the other group of friends thinks anything goes. Like, so you find yourself all by yourself in this, right?
I don't feel like I have anyone in my life that has issues with like a gay marriage.
Okay.
It's simply just the throuple. I am a person of faith, but I'm not super involved in the church community.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
So, yeah.
All right, so I missed that one. So I threw that one up against the wall. I just didn't stick. It fell on the floor. So there we go.
Yeah.
So the challenge here is all of this gets mushed up into one big knot in the middle of your chest. And the reason I think it's important to pull it out is to pull it apart is the scariest thing of all of this is, and I want to hone in on this one first, is the safety of your kid. And I don't think that a 2-year-old being around an aunt that has different life choices is going to imprint this on them or normalize it. I don't think that. But I am worried about the safety of your kid coming and going. I would not drop my kid off in a house that's where I don't know the kids, I don't know the partner, I don't know. I wouldn't do that. Absolutely wouldn't.
Yeah.
And that's just me being around, working with young people my whole career and hearing the stories of abuse from, not from the friend at the sleepover, but the friend's brother or the friend's brother's friend, right? And just the further that extended circle goes, the less safety there is. And so, yeah, I think you are dead on that.
Yeah.
Then I think you gotta grieve the loss of your relationship with your sister.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you make your way back to that beneath all of these different layers. But sometimes it's just a matter of a phone call or a voice text or even a text message that says, I miss my sister. And that may not respond well at all. That may be like, who knows how she responds to that. But I hate that for you.
Yeah, it's. I feel like there's been a lot of. This has been the distance between us has been growing since before the throuple even.
Sure.
I just feel like. I don't know. I just feel like we just have grown into different people. We've had a lot of different life experiences, especially given our large age gap.
And you have, and you should have. The challenge is like letting go of the fantasy that we're still little girls in the house together, which will never really work because you'll have a big age gap. But like this idea that sisters are supposed to have very similar lives, and there's this other woman in my life who's also my sister, who has a very different world than me, but I miss her.
Yeah.
And it's letting go of some of the stories that we tell ourselves about what sisters are supposed to be like and what hanging out is supposed to look like and what our lives are supposed to be like, but letting reality kind of drive this, which is how many years apart did you say?
About 10.
Yeah, we're 10 years apart, but I miss my sister.
Mm-hmm.
If you sent her a message that said, hey, I miss you. Like, for the last few years, we've been growing further and further apart. I know I played a role in that, but I miss my sister. Is there a chance we could get together? What would she say to that?
I think that she would be open to it. I do, because she's, I know she feels the same way. I just worry about what would happen after that. I think that there was a part of my life, I think she's moved on from this, but there was a part of my life where she placed a lot of blame on my husband, saying that he changed me. And that was really hard, because you never want your family talking badly about your chosen partner like that.
Sure.
And I think that I hold on to some resentment from that. So that's something I need to work through. But also I worry that she might pull that on again. And I don't want to do that. I just wish that we could just have like a normal sister relationship, like where we're friends. I just don't feel like we're friends right now. And I don't know that if she wasn't my sister, I don't know that I would choose her as a friend.
I know with uncertainty that you would not.
Yeah.
And so the question becomes, what does that mean? And does that mean you grieve this relationship and kind of let it go to the wind?
It's just hard to imagine doing that because of what that could do to my parents. Like, I don't want to be...
You haven't done that. Your job isn't to perpetually keep your parents propped up. And you probably learned that at a young age too, but that's not your job.
Yeah.
And if your parents' happiness and well-being is contingent on their two daughters who are 10 years apart with radically different lives and who have treated each other in different ways over the years, somehow manufacturing or duct taping together some sort of relationship that doesn't make any sense, that's their issue to deal with.
Yeah.
There's a kindness in being cordial, right? You don't fist fight at Thanksgiving if mom and dad asks y'all to all come in, but there's just a reality. We're 10 years apart. We live in different states.
Mm-hmm. Do you think then that, like, it should be like a formal conversation of like, I think that we are living different lifestyles, and like it's just not something I'm comfortable with my son being around anymore? Or do you think I should just continue to be cordial and just... No,
I would flip it all the way around. I always want to use I statements whenever I can.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I'm very protective of my son, and I don't let him spend the night where there's going to be just kids I don't know and other adults I don't know. That's on me. Period. End of story.
Yeah.
You don't have to get into lifestyle stuff. You don't have to get into dating choices. You don't have to get into the sexual ethics of thruples. You don't have to get any of that. I don't let my kid do X, Y, and Z. Doesn't matter if it's a friend from school. It doesn't matter if it's a friend from church. It doesn't matter if it's a friend from, like, one of your friends. I just don't do that. Oh, he's going to be fine. He'll be fine. I know. This one's on me. I just don't do that. Period.
Yeah.
Period.
I think another thing that I'm afraid of is, if there's no one at the house and she's just like, well, it's just my kids and, my wife at this point, because, the third isn't always there. What I have a fear of is, what if something has already happened with one of her kids, and what if they do something to my son? I know that's like spiraling, but like
here's what your big fear is. You're still desperate for your sister to approve of you, and you have to stop.
Yeah, I know, that's really accurate.
You have to stop. You're making yourself crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're honest, and she has chosen to not be your friend, or chosen to just live her own life, and her sister is just like, hey, what about me? What about me? What about me? You have to grieve that like the loss that it is. That you're so desperate for her approval that you're willing to, give her just miles of rent-free real estate in your mind while you're worrying about things, you're imagining things, and then you're imagining things on top of those imaginations, creating story after story after story. You're having imaginary conversations with her where you, like, imagine yourself responding to her and then getting indignant about her response back to you, and none of that stuff has happened. And now you're imagining imaginary potential maybe abuse of a situation that may have happened that may turn... Man, you are making yourself nuts. And at the end of this, you're just trying to please somebody. And the only path forward I see is one of two ways. One is you write her a letter, don't send it, but you write her a letter saying, I love you and I wish you the best and I understand you don't want me in your life. May God bless you. And then you weep like you haven't wept before. Or you call her and say, I miss my sister, and more importantly, I miss my friend. Can we be friends? And friends don't agree with everything. Friends don't do everything the same way. Friends don't listen to the same music all the time. Friends don't stay up as late as each other. Friends don't drink as much as each other does. Friends don't have the same sexual ethics as each other does, or the same like they're like the same things with their kids. They're still friends, same team. And you being able to take responsibility, not, well, I would like you, but you do that. I just don't do that with my kids. I miss your wife. I miss your, like, I. And that's you taking ownership. And that starts with you saying, I want to be someone that I love and that I respect, and that my life isn't going to be about trying to get other people to like me. And that's a hard place to be.